What's up, guys, and welcome to ASL Week 2 Power Rankings. I am joined once again with Milan,
What's up, guys? How's it going?
and I'm, of course, Excellent Name, so let's just jump right into it. We've got a lot of different opinions this time, so that should be interesting to see. First different opinion, I've decided to place Malone at 14, and you've placed Fish. You can lead it off.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're different persons, so of course we're going to have different opinions. But this week it was quite extreme. But all right, starting off at number 14, I have number overrated. Fish likes to call himself overrated. Yeah, why did I put him so low? Yeah, this week you faced up versus a very strong coach. You definitely showed signs of knowing what you were doing, and you tried to catch him off guard with unorthodox prep, which definitely did catch Ian off guard. But ultimately, you failed to cover the biggest threat to your team, being Mega Altaria, and it just clean swept your entire team. And definitely sad to see you so low, and I expect a good bounce back from you progressing in the season. And you have Mr. Malone at number
Yes,
14.
I
Explain to
do.
us why. Why?
This might just be a little bit of bias, but his katana is 0-2 right now, and that's just so disappointing.
I,
It hurts
I
me so
fucking knew it.
much.
I knew it.
I mean, it's just I feel like his playing is overall worse than Bitch's as well. He's just throwing stuff out when he shouldn't be a lot of the time. I think Vish has kind of gotten a bad luck run of the luck suddenly, but Malone has just felt like he's been outplayed solidly. He's been making some really high risk, low reward plays that have been consistently not working out. He's been messing up his calcs, which has been leading him to sacking off some really, really important stuff. He sacked off his Katana twice in a row. He sacked off, I believe, the Thunderous before from miscalcs. It's just a bunch of miscalcs that have costed him so much. So even though his differential might not be quite as bad, I still felt like it was right to put him in the 14 spot. I'll just talk about Vish now as well. He did, of course, get 6 O's this week. Can't be helped. His matchup against Mega Altaria was quite bad, and he made it kind of worse by bringing offensive Tangros and Vullaby, which just gave Altaria a bunch of opportunities. So I felt like even though he did bring a lot of interesting prep, it was that prep that really was the downfall for him. He also didn't bring stuff like Slowking, which made him a lot weaker to stuff like Abalion as well. So I felt like the misprep was what led him to get such a bad score, but I feel like his play has been more solid overall, so that's why I gave him the slight edge there.
All right. Well, I have Mr. Malone and the St. Louis Pueblos. You can hear me, right? Okay.
Yep.
You have him. I have him at number 13. You played Brad in a very fun to watch game, and It went back and forth this game, and it was a much better showcase than last week, in my opinion. Gudra and Thunderous put in the most of work on your side, and I definitely like seeing you being comfortable with those two. However, I have to agree with Ian. You definitely struggle with using Cortana this second week in a row. You basically threw it away. Really unfortunate, and I think in the end, ultimately you lost in the strong end game versus Brett, and losing Cortana was a big part of that plan. And yeah, I just want to wish you good luck next week. I think you definitely have the capability of doing better, but you first have to show it to us, man.
Yeah, for sure. So at number 12, we have a difference of opinion again. I have White Ferret and you have Shadow. I'll just start talking about White Ferret. He's the only other O2 coach, so I felt like that's going to be a little bit of extra criticism over any of the other coaches who lost this week or last week. It was a very close game for sure, a lot of back and forth plays, and you definitely made a lot of very solid plays. But overall, the actual planning out win cons, etc., was not all there. Tried to bring a kind of defensive stally team in a matchup where you just kind of get ran down by a physical Coco. Kept on subbing with the Chandelier, which was his win con, which was just taking completely unnecessary chip for no reason, especially with the rocks up. It just cost him so much there. So even though his plays looked very solid to keep him in the game for as long as it did, his game plan just was not there. And I believe that's why he did end up losing the game. I think his draft doesn't fit him very well either. He's definitely a more offense-looking player based on how he plays the game. So hopefully he can adapt to how his draft should be played and bounce back. But 0-2 record does leave him down in this rank for me.
All right, all right. Well, I actually have the PC Barcelona at number 12, and even though they're 1-1, I just I wasn't feeling it from Shadow this week, and I want to say, like, Shadow, I think you're a fantastic dude. You definitely love the offense, judging from your teams and the games. However, I think this team doesn't really support you and doesn't fit you in a way. In both games, you played very quick, and minor mistakes really cost a lot in those quick games. And that basically sets you back so much and makes you play from the back. And that was the case in this game too. I think you pivoted around Stack Attack pretty well, but just the fact that some of Dave's Pokemon didn't even hit the field just says enough for me. I advise you to revise your current team composition or try some trades. And I think when you do some trades that seem to fit you a lot better, I think your team will definitely excel in the rankings and just reward you in a way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You can also talk about. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to, man. I have I have the Philadelphia Flygons and Ferret at number 11, and Ferry faced off versus Susie this week. It was a very hard hitting offense versus fat defense. And throughout the game, I think Ferret did a great job pivoting between Susie's offense and deflecting Mons and his attacks at the same time, weakening Susie's team. That being said, it is hard to keep up versus such an offensive and strong team, because with certain doubles or predictions, you could be really put on the back foot or get forced into a cycle of plays and repeat the same process over and over again. In the end up cornering you. That luckily didn't happen to you, but however, I think in the end game you definitely make some mistakes and not the correct switches. Mega Venusaur was definitely one of them. I think you should have kept that healthy for sure. And I also think you did indeed with Chandelure misplay a little bit. But I wouldn't surprise to see you rise in the rankings, but because I still think you have one of the better teams in the league. And yeah, I believe in you, man. I think you can definitely do a lot better. So, Ian, let's see, who do we have at number 11? Oh, it's a different opinion as again.
Yeah, classic. We just clearly completely out of sync here, disagreeing left and right. I have Susie here. I just don't feel like he played a super solid game this week. He did win it, obviously, against White Ferret. So definitely props to you for being 1-1. But I just felt like his plays weren't really strong enough overall to really warrant putting him above any of the other coaches who played, particularly losing how badly he lost his week one, how like badly he choked, I should say, not how badly he lost it per se. And the fact that it was like as close as it was when Coco just ran such a train versus him, and when he made as many misplays with the Venu and the Chandelure as he did, I felt like it just wasn't as clean as it really should have been. I do think that 11 through to like 8, 7 kind of range is like really close right now though, so I don't think you should feel bad about being placed this low still. You definitely could be interchanged anywhere as high as 7, like I said, so yeah, don't feel too bad about it. Bounce back, I'm sure you can pull out a decent run still like you always do. But yeah, we'll just move on to the next picks at number 10. This is the biggest difference we have. You have AZ at number 10. Please do tell me why.
Yeah, well, I have at number 10 AZ and Houston Hoopas. Second time in a row you fucked up with your sets, and I kind of want to punish that really hard because it's super unnecessary, man. Like week 1 you forgot to put in EVs. This week you forgot Regenerator on Toxapex. It's just dumb. It's not necessary. You played a very tough opponent this week, which you clearly struggled with. You played the champion, of course. Overall, you were there that game, but you didn't really make an impact on me this week because TJ was ahead almost the entire game, and like your big wall breakers weren't able to break his team, and your FET got neutralized pretty easily as well. And yeah, you not putting Regenerator on Toxapex was definitely part of that as well. And yeah, I think you definitely can rise in the rankings for me, but you first have to show it to me because you have potential. I know that you're obviously a good kid. You can play very well, but yeah, right now I don't see it, man. I don't see it. And you have at number 10, you have the Seattle Togedemaru's. Explain to us.
Brett, I've got you down here mainly because it's your first week and you only won against one of the weaker coaches in the league, so I don't feel like I can really necessarily reward you much over the other coaches, but definitely a very solidly played game overall. A lot of it was kind of given to you, like the Cartana sack was just handed to you. And I feel like I kind of disagree with a few of the things that you did, but then they just didn't end up mattering because of how Malone played it. So I don't really fully understand the game that was played, if I'm being entirely honest. It just seemed really weird in a lot of turns. I'm sure that you'll do fine. I just can't really get a good gauge right now as to where to put you. So I more so just kind of based it on where I think the other people are above or below you. So yeah, I'm sure in the future weeks you'll be able to cement yourself a place in this league much more solidly. But for now, 10 is where you'll be. But at number 9, I actually have Shadow and the PC Barcelonas. You put them at number 12. This is a pretty big difference of opinion, gotta say. And honestly, I don't blame you for putting it at number 12. I am so confused as to how you failed to bring Hail on the Ninetales. You literally have to change the ability to do that. The default ability is the Hail, so I'm not sure how he messed that up. But he brought it really close. Which is surprising to me because we all know that Shadow was universally voted to have the worst team in the league. Um, it just doesn't feel like it meshes well together, but it feels like he's been kind of making it work, honestly. We could have seen that the Alolan Sandslash could have put in a lot more work if it did have the Hail support. If the team did have the Veil support, we saw the Zero Aura have some nice tech with the Z Bloom Doom. That would have been Grass Knot, which otherwise was only base 20 power versus the Rotom. So he did a lot of good stuff there. Just that small fuck up really cost him big, and the fact that he brought the game that close is definitely quite impressive to me, honestly. So I definitely did decide to bump him up all the way to 9. Definitely a lot higher than you did. But I also understand your perspective on that. But now you can talk about who you decide to put at number 9.
Yeah, I put at number 9 someone I'm very familiar with. I know him personally. He's pretty bad at the game, but alas, he tries. I put
He
myself at
does.
number 9 with Jersey Justice. And yeah, why I put myself so low is I basically failed to execute my prep and plan. I think I made a very strong and solid plan, and I just misplayed it a lot. I knew I shouldn't have pulled the trigger so soon, but I think I was very confident in it that it would work and Hutch would take the bait. I kind of overlooked Hutch at the same time with it. The Z Shadow Ball was very strong on his part, basically putting me in the back so much. And then in the end, when I tried to make a comeback, he just locked me as well. But like it's the game we play, so I can't be that mad about it. I took a bad beat down, 5-0 loss, definitely not solid. Especially if you judge my week 1 victory as it was a forfeit, I definitely do not agree with putting me any higher than any of the other coaches. However, I think I will definitely make a comeback because I'm very eager to win and I definitely do not like losing. But yeah, that is why I put myself at number 9.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have you at number 8. More so because I've got slightly stronger criticisms of the coaches who are below you, and overall, I think that the fact that you fought like such a stronger opponent, top 3 of all-time rankings, Hutch, and the fact that you did get locked fairly heavily, definitely weighed into it. Even though you did get a forfeit win for your win, you definitely played very solidly in both games. I feel you showed a lot more potential overall, even if the score doesn't indicate that potential. I definitely feel like it was definitely there. I said definitely way too many times there, but I'm sure that you guys still
That's
get the
right.
point. The
Yeah.
point is that Milan's just his overall history and the plays that he showed in the games give him that edge over the other coaches who have been historically weaker and had some bigger flaws in their games despite winning them. I feel like the coaches below did also have an easier schedule. The ones who won, at least, not the ones who lost so much. But anyway, you can talk about your number 8 spot now.
Yeah, at number 8, I have the Seattle Toganamarus and Brett. First game you played, and you played it pretty well. I think your prep was solid. It was an exciting battle. It went back and forth. You did play versus one of the lower ranking teams, but a good victory nonetheless. I think you had an extremely strong endgame, preserving Greninja for the win. But I also have only one game to judge you off, so I can't put you really higher than this at this point. But I think you start fresh with a team you didn't draft. It's an extremely good team, but you still need to adapt to a different kind of playstyle than you probably play yourself. And I think you did that very well, and I applaud you for that.
I agree.
At number seven, I have the Utah Hoots. We also have a big difference. You have the Utah Hoots at number 11. I have them at number 7. Susie definitely outdid himself this week, playing versus, in my opinion, one of the strongest teams in the league. In the end, it was Delphox who hard carried him to the victory, and Susie definitely was not enjoying his lower ranking last week because he proved me wrong this week. And that's very good to see that Susie made a good comeback. Of course, the end game of Ferret wasn't exactly the best as well, but I mean, I can't take that from Susie's victory as well, because like you mentioned before, like it wasn't as a clean game as it should have been. But in the end, like that's not Susie's fault, and I think he definitely stepped it up, and I hope to see him keeping this up. Susie is known for doing very well in the first half of the season, so I'm excited to see how long he can keep up a current win streak.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with a decent amount of that, but that's what makes this fun. Honestly, it is what makes the power rankings fun. It's why we have two people, so that we can have the difference of opinions. But I have Susie's brethren, his best friends, Demaster and the Denver Nummels here. A pretty significant drop this week, and it's like not really. I don't know. He fought TCP this week, so that's like obviously a very difficult opponent, one of the best players in the league for sure. And even though he has a very solid team, it just didn't really show. He didn't bring the Kieran Black, which was a little bit surprising to me because it definitely was a very solid breaker versus TCP's team, in my opinion. But there's not really a lot to say about this game, I don't think. He played it fine, he just didn't play it as well as TCP did. TCP definitely played a lot better. He had a lot better prep as well. So it's just generally kind of outplayed, outskilled kind of situation. So I'm not sure really where else I should be putting him. I feel like the other coaches above and below have more cemented their spots. So that's why I have him at number 7. But at number 6, I have Big Daddy Dave. I just love saying that name. Dave.
It is a good name.
Yeah, Dave was able to win his game this week against Shadow, bouncing back quite nicely. And it was pretty close, but he was able to clinch it out with the Zygarde in the end. His stack attacker with the Trick Room was also able to put in a lot of work, which was definitely exciting to see. And he was able to play around like the big threats, like the Alolan Sandslash that was setting up a lot, and the Zero Aura, which outsped and put on so much pressure on his team. He was able to play around all that really well. He knew exactly what to sack, when to sack it, when to bring in his big threats, when to not risk his threats, like the Stack Attacker. Had a few opportunities that it could have set up, but would have had to risk stuff like Earthquake and stuff. So he definitely was able to play those win cons really well out of not a bad matchup, but a definitely scary matchup. So definitely props to him for that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Who do I have at number 6? All right, it's my good buddy Hutch. Hutch and the Portland Timbers. Interesting game. You faced off versus me. pretty trash coach. So like, I can't.
Calm down.
Like,
Calm down.
good job at beating a trash coach. But I personally think you did a very solid job of catching me off guard with the Ladias, first the Roost, because I think you had a pretty free turn to Draco or whatever. And then with the Z Shadow Ball, that impacted the game very, very largely. However, I think you definitely did underprep for some of the threats, and you did get pretty fortunate that game, basically making it impossible for me to make a comeback. Yeah, I mean, it's not your fault as well, so I can't fault you for that. Nice kill record for the low bunny, and yeah, good luck further on the season. Um, I have at number 5 the Denver Nuggets, and I'm just gonna keep talking about it, and nothing you can do, EN. In my life, you faced off versus a playoff contender. You did give TCP a good run for his money, but you did not have the most effective ways to break through his team. Like Ian mentioned before, you didn't break Curum or something like that. You did bring the yellow collar, which came into play, and it also backfired on you in the late game. I mean, it was happening on both sides, so I think you can't really complain about it. It was a very even and fun game to watch. Just unfortunately, it wasn't you who came out on top, and that is why you were at number 5. Of course, it shouldn't be the power rankings, and we have a different opinion again. You have the Houston Upas at number 5, which I had at number 10. Please explain to us why you have him at number 5.
I think you're being a little bit hard on AZ for misprepping twice. That might be like that's
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we definitely clearly weigh things differently. I don't weigh the prep aspect quite as heavily. Overall, I think AZ is a busy man. He doesn't always have time to double check his prep. Sucks. He should have time to do that. He should get those wins when he can. I do have some issues with how he played the game. The fact that he set up a rock polish with the Lando T when he already was pretty much outspeeding everything anyway. The fact that he didn't expect the ice beam, even though the flamethrower was already revealed, was questionable. A little bit surprised to see him not bring hazard removal, and the fact that he let the hazards just keep on coming up. But he already kind of had a rough matchup in my opinion, because his offensive backbone of Mega Medichan pretty much exclusively had a really tough time breaking that team, and it had a rough time coming in when TJ has big threats like the Mega Glade. Sorry, I slipped my mind there. Mega Glade that outspeeds and puts a lot of pressure on. Suicune threatens with burns. Just was tough to get in the Mega Medi, and when it did, it doesn't really have any tech options to beat the Helmet Uxie, which just chipped it down so quickly with hazards. So definitely his prep was poor, and his play was not up to par, but I do think that his play in the first game is enough to keep him from dropping off too far, and I do think he'll be able to still do some good things later in the season. But at number 4, I actually have Hutch a bit higher than you. I'm not sure how much salt played into your decision to rank him at number 6. But he played and prepped really well. The Ghostium Z on the Latias was really smart stuff. I assume you were Rock Polish or something like that on the Metagross. So if he didn't have that, then he was going to be in a lot of trouble there. For sure. The fact that he was able to roost up on the Volcanian's explosion was definitely very interesting. But I guess he had the soul read there, so he's definitely played it safe in the matchup that he had and was able to pull out, in my opinion, a pretty difficult matchup with some really smart prep. So that's why I've got him at number 4.
All right. Fair enough. At number 4, I have the Chicago Conquerors with the man with the ninth name, Big Daddy Dave. Very strong coach. Definitely showed not to mess with him after his week 1 defeat. You basically did what you needed to do, even without using some of your mons. Good job. It was an interesting battle. You played versus Shadow with a very offensive team, so you had to make sure you could check his offense while also delivering good offensive back. I think you did a great job of that, and good job on that. And now we have something really excited for you. So first time ever in the week 2 power rankings, we have an agreement. We have at number 3 we have the Hartford Whalmers, and I can ask you first why you have TCP at number 2, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Fair enough. So first of all, when I was watching his game versus Blake, I was thinking, wow, the fact that he was able to overcome all this, like all these crits, that stuff with the Avalog, truly inspiring. Got to place him at the number 2 ranking. But then I saw what that Ditto did. The fact that the Heliolist just completely like reverse swept him was super funny to me. Got to say, kind of some justice for running Galare Heliolist. But can't deny that it sucked. The para on the Mega Gyarados, the double full para on the Mew, pretty much all the Master needed was to kill off that Ditto, and the Mega Gyarados probably would have won. But overall, he still played very well. And yeah, there's not really all that much to say. Very similar to when I was talking about the Master, that game was just kind of like not a lot to say, I feel, outside of how that end game panned out. Lots of hacks on both sides, so I decided that I felt like the coaches that were above him deserved to be above him a little bit more based on how their games panned out. But why do you have him at number 3?
Well, TCP, great performance. Faced off versus a very strong team. Ranked the best along the YouTube team and the writing team, I think. The game went back and forth, and yeah, you did get very unfortunate this week, but you still came out on top. Ditto did a lot this week. Like, I'm not sure how it would have went if you didn't get the things that did happen. But yeah, yellow color, yellow magic. It's just fun to watch. It was a very fun match to watch. I think you are super comfortable with your team, and it really shows in the battles. And that's why I definitely will keep you high in the rankings, because you have been performing pretty consistent, and I definitely like your games. So for my number 2, I have the one and only champion of last season, TJ with the Slow Bohemians, back at it again. Really strong game this week, blocking the biggest offensive threats of AZ. You threw Hazard in the mix to deal with his offense as well, and I want to say it is not surprising to see you do so well, but I'm still kind of surprised because your team just looks wacky. But, you know, that's just how you roll, man. That's your style. Keep it up, man. Keep it up.
Yeah, I think TJ's team is actually really good. I can understand why people might think it's wacky, but I don't agree with that at all. I definitely think his team is very solid, but he definitely out-prepped AZ really heavily this game. That's how he always gets his wins. He always out-preps pretty much everyone. He's probably the best prepper like I've ever met, at least top 3. So he did it again, and I felt like his plays were definitely there to back that up. The way he was able to get the hazards up quickly, the way he was able to pivot around the big threats, lure some stuff in. A few aggressive plays that I felt like he could have made that he didn't, but no fault there, no blame there. Obviously, he did exactly what he needed to do to win the game, and it was very solid overall. So I definitely feel like he does deserve to get this number 2 spot over TCP, just from how he was able to play this game. But at number 1, we have the one, the only, myself. I'll let you lead that. I'll let you talk about me a little bit before I talk about me.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just gonna keep it short. EN, dominant. Just dominant. Only thing I want to add is that if Cobalian's name stays trash, like it has the past 2 weeks, I'm definitely gonna drop you in my rankings. Like, I don't care. Even if you're like plus 70 or something, you're still being like number 12 in my rank. Like, come
it's okay.
on. The only thing you need to do is please me with that name. Then
Dude,
fine.
I'm changing it. It's fine. I've changed it. New nickname.
All right.
You guys, you're getting the exclusive leak. Heard it here first. Yeah. Kabalian's new nickname is General Mango rather than just Mango. Right. You're welcome. It has that Millicent stuff to it now. But
if it doesn't have his name, you definitely have a problem with me, man. Okay? Okay, now you can talk about yourself, how great you are and stuff. Like, go.
Okay, so 6-0. It's a 6-0. Lots, it's a 6-0. That always, almost always, is a good game. That's always indicative of a pretty dominant performance. There's a few fringe cases where it's just like, oh, that was kind of a lame 6-0. I don't think this is one of them. I definitely had the matchup, and I definitely had the advantage of Vish not prepping particularly well for the Mega Altaria. He definitely respected Tornadus T and Raikou more. But overall, I don't think that really matters too much. I got Altaria 6 kills that game, which was really cool to see. Definitely huge fan of Altaria after that game, especially. But 6-0 is a 6-0. There's no real two ways about it. I can't really justify putting myself any lower. I guess I could see second if you wanted to put TJ above. But you got to remember that just because Vish is ranked 13 and 14 on the power rankings doesn't mean his general skill level is at a 13, 14th level coach. He's definitely been historically considered one of the top coaches. He did win Season 2 after all, so I don't think that's indicative of his skill level, and therefore it shouldn't really be a detriment to my ranking. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, not really. I think you covered pretty much everything. It was fun to see how much we disagreed this week.
Yeah.
Only the top three we decided to agree on. But maybe next week we can even start disagreeing even more and only have the number one, the same coach. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I hope you guys liked it. Please leave a like, follow us on Twitter, leave a comment, be nice to us, don't hate us. We have no hate for you. It was only love, ASL love. Yeah, I think that was it. You want to wrap things up?
I'm pretty sure that's what you just did, actually. So see you guys next time. We'll be back next Saturday. As always, peace.
Peace.